like the one that one of the ones in the Bible that you like Saul. I can compare Saul's story to your story. Like Saul was known for uh, arresting and killing Christians. The way I look at your story, the way I look at your story, you were known for killing people on the court, and your name was big then, and it's still big. It just sometimes your story don't go like everybody's story. Don't mean you're not gonna get there. It's what you believe, not them. And so when anybody that you think hung you out to dry, don't worry about none of that stuff. Take that stuff and eat it with a grain of salt and go get them. All of them. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, all right. First of all,
the Chicago nigga.
Surprise, it's the boy who live. It's the West Chatham Santa with some toys to give. A 38 special I call Noisy Cricket. I got a chain on now called Roy G. Biv. It's the new edition like Poison Biv Bell DeVoe. It's time to make that noise again. Lauren Hill said she see me on The Voice again. But this the end of the road like Boys to Men. You better use your pen, baby, use your heart, child. Where's your viewpoint? Where's your art style? Sometimes a teardrop can make your heart smile. Looking for a sign and he sends a star shout. Fresh off surviving the coup d'etat, the music stop, you just might lose your spot. No fairy tale endings if you lose the plot. It's written in the notebook if you forgot. It's a love letter. I used to hate math, used to love letters. They had me in the class with the dumb niggas. This nigga come to class with an umbrella. Did school, day walker, I'm a sun dweller. Until I met a brother Mike, he said, young fella, everybody dies some right poem. So I raised my right arm and I said right on. Put my name on that, don't get no fuck list. America's own niggas you can't trust list. I got a 6 hour call MC Hammer. I got a chain on now call you can't touch this. I said I gotta figure out gotta figure out a way to get this money by tomorrow. If you know me, it ain't funny anymore. If you owe me, ain't no running anymore. From my mama, she said, I feel big, separate the waters, and softly devotion line the star shine. And we back.
mm-hmm. Nick, what's up, man? What's up with you? Well, my name is Troy Smith. Most of the boys that I coach call me Coach Troy.
Okay. So you coached Zion, obviously, at some point. But what was your first time seeing Zion?
So my first time seeing Zion was, I think he was a freshman at Hillside. My son played at Cary, and I think Zion was a freshman playing varsity, and then he played against Cary. That was my first time seeing Zion then. I mean, as far as, even as a freshman, Zion, you can see the talent there. You know what I mean? Like, it pops out at you. And he was like that as a freshman. And I kind of followed him from his freshman year on to Word of God. And then I saw him at the CP3 Rising Stars camp. And then I was coaching with CP3 that year. I was coaching 16s. And he was just somebody that I wanted to recruit, somebody I wanted to go after.
And your first impression upon meeting him?
My first impression of meeting Zion, that's kind of a weird question because it was always a narrative around Zion. You know what I mean? Like, everybody always knew Zion was talented, highly talented, but it was what's going to come with Zion. And that was kind of the narrative, but I wanted to really get to know Zion. So my first impression was he was different. You know, he was a different kid. But once you get to know Zion, then you know how Zion is.
Right. What was he like as a player?
As a player, he always had the physical tools. So he was physically, he was super athletic. He had the size, the athleticism. The thing about Zion's kind of thick-skinned though, so it's 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 a love-hate relationship once you get to know him. I don't even gonna go back and ask that question.
We might be able to get a little more into that. So let's talk about you and Zion's relationship.
All right.
What would you say about it?
So me and Zion's relationship, it started out me just getting to know him. As far as not being just his coach, it got me knowing we was going back and forth to Winston-Salem. So we had we rode for an hour and 30 minutes, so we really had time to talk. And I really got to know Zion. And to get to know him, he just thinks a little different than one, which everybody does. He thinks a little different than everybody. He sees the world totally different than everyone else does, which everybody sees the world a lot different. So, but the thing about him is, I just love how he loves the game, how enjoyable he is to be around once you get to know him. That's pretty much it.
During the Team Mellow game, when Zion chose not to go back in, would you care to discuss what happened and what went on?
Okay, we'll elaborate on a little bit on that game. It's funny that he mentioned that game because that's a memory that I have of Zion. That's my first time seeing him with that perspective on the game, because we were playing against Melo, and Melo plays a 2-3 zone, right? Zion hates to see zones, period, because now he don't get to get in his bag, as the kids would say. You know what I mean? And my whole thing was Zion, move the ball, make the game easier for you. And he got a little frustrated. So we pulled him out of the game. And I remember my assistant coach said, look, when you're ready for him, I'll tell him to go back in. I said, so I'm ready for him. Tell him to come back in now. And he was like, Zion was like, no, I'm not going back in the game. And we really couldn't figure out why until after the game was over with. And we just see how frustrated he was of the defense that they were playing. So it's funny that he got you to ask me that question, because that's the first time I ever seen Zion just right out blatantly, just like, nah, I don't want to play no more, I'm done.
Do you remember what his last game at CP3 was? I believe it was versus Team Durant.
Yes, it was against Team Durant. We were down in Texas, and I think we beat Durant. Yeah, we beat Durant in overtime to qualify for Peace Jam that summer. And Zion had a really good game that game against Team Durant.
And right after that, when you guys came back, is actually when the stroke happened. So do you remember your initial reaction when you heard that he was going into the hospital?
Yes, I received a phone call from Nick, and I don't know how I felt at that moment, but I was hurt and I was sad because me and Zion had formed a really good relationship just from us traveling a lot, like back and forth to Winston-Salem. We traveled on the train together, back and forth, because a year before that I had ruptured my Achilles, so I couldn't drive. So my wife was taking me and Zion back and forth. Me and Zion was finding rides to get back and forth, but we were always talking all the time.
Gotcha. What is it like when you see him now?
To see him now, from the first time I went to the hospital and saw him, it's pretty remarkable, pretty amazing, to be honest with you. Because I remember when he couldn't even get out of bed and he couldn't even move. But if it was one person that can come back and something like that because of how hard he works, I knew it would be Zion. Just from his work ethic. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really see too many kids just self-motivated, where he's always self-motivated. He's ready to work. He's gonna work whether you want to work or not. Like, he can go find the balls, he can go find the gym, he can go find the hoop. I mean, that's his nature. That's the type of kid he is.
And I mean, you kind of touched on this a little bit, but is there a way to elaborate on kind of what he's like day to day? Day to day with Zion is, you wouldn't believe that he's an Elvis fan. Like, he loves Chick-fil-A. I do not. Just from knowing him, he loves Chick-fil-A. He's an Elvis fan. He got me and my wife to sit down and watch an Elvis movie, which it was unbelievable that a 16-year-old was into Elvis.
What was it like seeing him progress over the 33 days that he was in the hospital and after?
It was amazing, to be honest with you. It was just for his will to get back to where at least get back to where he can function and move. It was really amazing to see somebody that young and somebody that motivated to do something like that. You know what I mean? Because I couldn't picture myself in that position and how I would be. But for a 16-year-old to react the way he did and to work the way he did to come back, like, that's pretty remarkable for a kid like that.
Well, let's just talk about Zion as a person.
Zion has become part of our family. It seemed like from the little time that the month or 2 months we were together, like, Zion really became part of our family. My wife had a great liking to Zion. She always talked to him. She's a teacher at heart, so she's always talking to him and trying to get in his brain and figure out what Zion is thinking. Because Zion, we wanted to see something bigger for Zion because we knew the talent was there. And I was just hoping that everybody at Peach Jam had a chance to see him. You know what I mean? Like, I was hoping that the coaches had a chance, that someone to see him. And the whole thing was like, wait till he get to Peach Jam, everybody get a chance to see who this kid really is. I just hate that he didn't get a chance to do it. That's all.
Anything else you want people to know?
I would say one thing about Zion: don't count him out. Don't count him out. Don't bet against him, because with his work ethic and his drive, like, it's no telling where we're gonna see him at in the future.
I would agree. Thank you so much, Coach Troy. Miss Lily, who are you to Zion?
I am Coach Troy's wife, and Coach Troy has been with CP3 for years, and this was just another season for us of beginning. And week 2, he ruptured his Achilles at practice on a Sunday. And the way CP3 runs, typically, since you've got players from all over the area, they meet up Friday evening and practice on Saturday, play on Saturday, and then practice on Sunday again to get ready for the circuit. And so week 3, I'm their chauffeur, because Troy lost his ability to drive for 3 months. And of all the seasons, Zion just lived 5 minutes from us. Out of all the players he's coached, he was the closest one he's ever coached to where we live, in the Raleigh-Durham area. And so I started riding with them every Friday and Sunday and get to know him. And I asked a lot of questions. So the moment he popped in the car, I was asking him a million questions and trying to get to know him. And that's how our relationship started.
Nice. What is Zion like off the court?
Zion off the court likes, he loves music. He actually likes to spend time away from people and kind of just sit on his own. And like any other 18 boy, he loved to eat.
Absolutely. What was your relationship with him like while having him on CP3?
Just my nature and just always being a coach's wife, I just become like a mom to them. So I start just speaking life into them, asking them what's your plan B, because the ball's gonna stop dribbling for everyone at some point. And one thing I learned early on that Zion was stubborn. And so there were a lot of conversations. Sometimes because he just thought of his world just being around him, he'd forget about the people around him. And, I would say about a month in, I treated him like my own child, and I would fuss at him and talk to him and speak truth to him. I remember one time when we got to Winston, he told one of the coaches, "Miss Lily cussed me out and didn't even say any cuss words." Yes, sir, because you needed that talking to. For whatever reason it was. I can't even tell you what it was, honestly, now.
There'll be plenty more, don't worry. What was your reaction to hearing the news?
It just took the breath out of my lungs. I remember where I was standing, what I was doing at work. Troy sent me a text during the day. He was like, "Call me." I knew something was up. I just couldn't believe it. And so that day I went after work, and when I saw he couldn't move any part of his left side of his body, it was devastating, because he has been one of the most athletic boys that Troy's ever coached. I remember when he first told me about Zion, he was like, "This boy is freakishly athletic. He can do things naturally." So he was really looking forward to coaching him up because of what he was already bringing to the table. And he just had a strong work ethic. They would have practice at 10, and he'd ask, "Can I get in the gym at 8?" And in Winston. So it was just so sad, but everything happens for a reason, and kind of shaped his future.
What was he like in the hospital?
Stubborn. I will say though, that stubbornness, I think, is what has allowed him to make so much growth. Because one thing that you can't do is tell Zion, you're not going to do this. So if you tell him that, he's going to do everything in his power to do it. I remember just being there throughout the summer and getting there, and it's like, he doesn't get up. He tried to take a shower by himself. He was standing up prematurely before he should have, and just sitting there. I'm like, man, you gotta listen. But that stubbornness is really, I think, I'm not a medical professional, but what allowed him to just recover and regain his mobility so much more quickly, because everyone kept telling him, just be patient, it's gonna come back. He has no patience, he's stubborn, so he was gonna make it work faster than anyone or any of us could have imagined.
Yeah. Do you have any concerns with Zion?
My only concern for him is when the ball officially stops dribbling for him. I don't care if you're a 10-year-old or LeBron James. I've always said it's going to happen to everyone. And so what does life look like?
Right.
When you no longer have that goal of rehabilitating yourself to get back to where you were in February 2023. It's truly my biggest concern, and hoping that he sees other opportunities.
What do you hope Zion does with basketball going forward?
I had a friend say once that you've got to get more out of the sport than the sport gets out of you. And so I just pray that he's able to use basketball to get his education, to gain skills, to be less stubborn and open to advice more easily. And that just opens doors for him. Basketball can allow kids to go across the world to play and meet different people. So I hope he gets more out of the sport than the sport gets out of him, because he puts a lot of time into it.
Absolutely. I think these kind of go hand in hand, especially for Zion. But outside of basketball, what do you hope for Zion for in life?
I hope that he can use his story to give back to younger kids, because there's always going to be someone that's coming up the pipeline, especially in this area, Raleigh-Durham area. There's so many athletes that I hope that he can use his story to inspire other people and give back to the community, just like he has seen the people that have stepped up around him.
Well, thank you, Ms. Lily, for answering all of my questions.
Thanks for having me.
Do you have anything else you would like there people to know about Zion, or just encouraging words for Zion?
He's a great kid with a great work ethic. You really do have to spend a lot of time to really get him to put his walls down and be vulnerable with you. But it's worth it. It's worth it. He's a great kid. We love him.
Well, thank you again.
Yes.
And hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Yes, hopefully. Thank you. Okay. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good. I want to ask you a question about the Mellow game. He wanted to hear Coach Troy's thoughts on when you refused to go back in the game. So I want to hear your perspective. Why did you refuse to go back in the game? Was it live EYBL circuit weekend?
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, all right. First of all, I scored like the first 7 points, okay? This is Carmelo Anthony sitting on the baseline, right? Right? And his prodigy right under him, right? Scored the first 7 points. And then they go into a zone and they start telling me to pass the ball. What? I'm sorry, but nah. I didn't understand it at that point. All right. Was it that session? Or was it that one? That was the third one? Yeah, it was the third one. By the last game, the Team Durant game, I got it. It was easier to keep the defense off balance. You gotta be aggressive, and every time you get the ball, but you don't have to shoot it every time. You gotta keep them guessing. If they know you're gonna shoot it, it's easy to guard somebody like that. But if you passing it more than you, not more than you shoot it, but just as much as you shooting it, you know, just move it around. But usually, in my experience, in my 20 years of life, you pass the ball, it's not coming back. It's not coming back. Yeah, so Troy was telling me that, but I was knowing what was really gonna happen in my mind. You know what I'm saying? So, but nah, I was being very selfish. So
We talked
yeah,
a little bit about your stubbornness. So I'm
super.
curious to hear from you how you think your stubbornness can be a gift.
How it can be a gift.
We know how it cannot be a gift.
Yes, I think it can stop me in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways, you know, I hate to hear no, and I think in a lot of ways that would be useful in life. If you know, I think even with, you know, I'll put it like this. Even like with my family and everybody knowing how good I was before, after, it's like everybody wants me to think of more than basketball, along with basketball, but it was never that in the first place. But now it's like everybody's telling me that I don't think everybody really believes that I can do what I think I believe I can do. So I think that me being stubborn and me knowing what, me believing in myself and not wanting to just listen to everybody else around me that's just telling me, you know, just go make some money and not, you know, chase your dream because, you know, they couldn't imagine themselves doing what I'm trying to do right now. So I think that stubbornness will help me in what, I mean, it'll help me in certain situations, not all of them. So I think in this situation, my stubbornness will lead me to where I need to go, or to help me get to where I need to go, along with a bunch of other elements. It just, I mean, everybody says this, it's cliche or whatever, but you don't realize what truly matters in this life until, you know, everything that you would value yourself crumbles, you know. So it just showed me that, you know, I'm a lot stronger than I thought I was. I thought I was pretty popping, but nothing was ever too hard for me growing up. You know, I started at such a young age. Nothing was ever hard to me. So it showed me another side of myself when the chips were all down on me, you know, and I wasn't the most talented, the most athletically gifted. It showed me it showed me what I did to get there. Instead of it being so gradually, it had to be more rapid, mind testing to me, you know. As a child, you can sort of block everything out through life, you know, through just distracting yourself. As a child, you got a short attention span, so you can block everything out. But when everything is just on you, and it's all on your mind, and you got to think about like real life. It's hard to like try to. It's hard to like stay fully locked in and not think about the what if it doesn't happen part of it. It's hard to do that, but like I said, I'm a soldier, you know, so I'll be fine.
You're going to be fine. And you're loved.
Yes, yes.
Anything else you want to say?
I appreciate Coach Troy and Coach Lily. They were there for me in a very. Oh yeah, my sister was in this whole process too. But Coach Troy and Coach Lily, right now, I'm talking about them. I appreciate them because they were great to me, as if I was their own child, you know. And I still feel as if I call them and I need anything, you know, I think they'll make it happen for me, you know. So I just appreciate that about them, and I love them. So yeah, they're all right. Yeah, all right, I'm done.
You gotta make it alright.
start off the day.
Never the right time to go. Gotta know the right time to go. Never the right time to go. Don't love you. Love me, he choose your steps. Gotta make it right for you left. Gotta make it right before you. Everybody wanna feel like everything gon' be right. Do me over the old me. Let it out, let it all out. God, please let it alright. Make it right, nothing feels right. Nothing else ever feels right. Nothing else ever feels right.
I'm Zion Collins. Fuck that.
Hello.